13 of the Fab Lab. I'm Liz Everett.
And I'm Stephanie J.
This week, we have an incredible show for you, but let's start out with the fact that, unfortunately, and honestly, gratefully, this is our final episode of season 1. And I say unfortunately because we have learned so much and it has been so awesome. And I am ready to start planning for season 2. And I say gratefully because we are so honored that we have had such an awesome opportunity to serve you guys and to really start building our The Fab Lab community.
Yes, that's absolutely true. We started this season. Speaking personally, I really didn't know anything about TV or TV production. So it has definitely been a learning experience for me. And the word that comes to mind is limitless. So if we are able to do and bring the content to you guys that we brought for season 1, the sky is really the limit for season 2. And I am elated to get to season 2.
Totally agree. I think and believe for both of us that this was a challenge that we didn't even know we needed. And so I believe that we are both just really grateful that we've had the opportunity to do it together. And also that we've had the opportunity to just try to make some things happen that we didn't know. I think a lot of folks felt like, oh, well, they've been in and around New York City and they've done this and they've done that. If you knew us before from our blog, Style It Factor and those kind of things, but it really was a stretch for us. And it takes a lot of guts, to be honest, to, ask our friends to be on with us and try to stretch beyond what we think is possible. And I think that the lesson here for all of us is that anything is possible. So Steph, I think limitless really is a great word for what lays ahead of us.
Definitely. And with that, we have a fantastic episode planned for you. We have our industry insider interview with the fabulous Dion Williams from Emerge. And we are so grateful that she took the time out of her schedule to come on and talk with us about Emerge, about what she's got going on. And she is absolutely phenomenal.
She truly is. And we have an awesome Fab Lab analyst panel who, let's just say, I feel is like illustrious and elite, shall we say. We have Michael Andrew Weston, who is an identity strategist, and he is also the president of Indiana Fashion Week. And we also have executive present strategist, Bridget Battles, who we have attended some New York Fashion Week shows with as well. So, this week is value packed. And we're covering emerging designers this week.
We really are going to go from the headlines to the hemlines because this week's Fab Lab analyst panel is fully packed. I feel like it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. And then last but not least, you got Rocket or Racket, and we're going to be covering again emerging designer pieces, garments that emerging designers have put together. And I cannot wait to get to that portion.
I totally agree. And the value of covering emerging designers is to keep you guys ahead in your wardrobe, inspired in your style, and going to the next level at making life your runway. So stay tuned. Make sure you stay right here and interactive in the comments. And if you guys have not followed us on IG, make sure you go over and do that while everything is popping over here on the THEE Fab Lab, where we're all about fashion and the art of beauty.
Here on the Mocha Media Network.
Hello, Fab Lab fashionistas. I'm Liz Everett.
And I'm Stephanie J.
And we are so excited because we are about to get into to the fashion headlines. Yes, we're about to help you make life your runway, darling. Bring this inside scoop to you and give it to you because you are front row for the fashion show. Now, I'm going to let Stephanie introduce our guest because we have a very distinguished panel tonight, darlings, this morning.
Oh, yeah. We have a very, very distinguished, very phenomenal panel. We have Bridget Battles. We have Bridget Battles, who is an executive president, a presence strategist and image consultant. Thank you for joining us, Bridget.
Stephanie, I am like so hyped about being here, and I'm ready to have a good time and to discuss all things fashion.
Yes, we love it. And we are so thankful that you're here with us. We also have Michael Weston, who is an identity strategist and president of Indiana Fashion Week. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael.
I am so excited to be here. You guys are just so fabulous. I can't help it.
Thank you.
We totally appreciate it. And we're super excited. You guys know we always bring you honey. We don't have Fab Lab analysts that just, you know what I'm saying? They talk fashion. They are fashion and are not industry adjacent. And that is shade. Go get your umbrellas, honey. Okay? Because I don't care. All right, here we go. All right, let's get into this first topic. We're keeping an eye out for these 11 amazing up and coming emerging designers. Now, I have to say that Daniel W. Fletcher was one of my faves. I'm super, super into it. Bridget, who were some of your favorites?
So I really like, I think his name was Reed Harris. I really like that. So the pussy bow blouse for me, it's just like something I believe every woman should have in their wardrobe capsule. And what's so great about it is that you can be business at night, but sexy in the evening. So like I was all over those tops. Like everybody needs a pussy bow blouse.
Michael, which one are you living for?
Okay. So Harris is that mix between masculine and feminine. I don't even know what to say. Like I saw it, I was like, that's me. That's everything. I love it. And just see-through. Can I say see-through? Is like, and Liz, you know me, is like the see-through all day, every day. Like I'm ready for it. So that's me right there, period.
Well, I think that we can all agree that we are fashion is art people. All of us love the drama, not just the drama. We like the drama. And, you know, we are here for all of it. And, you know, shout out to these 11 designers because it takes a lot to really work on an aesthetic and to push it forward and to present it and then to say, hey, you know, my art is valid. So clap of applause, darlings, to all of you from us. Now let's move into Kim K. Okay. Stephanie, give me some insight on this. No one wants to work.
As soon as Stephanie is done, I'm ready for this. As soon as Stephanie is done, I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah. Fill us in, Steph.
I think this might be my favorite. I was like, we have to talk about this on our last episode. I was like, because it's going to get fiery. I think it's going to get heated. Basically, Kim K said her business advice to folks was to get off their effing butts. I'm paraphrasing, of course. Get off their effing butts and do the work. Which if that is just the soundbite, right? I can understand why folks who work their butts off in the real world and don't have nannies, assistants, and folks to help them on all different levels are up in arms.
So, you know, I've been waiting for this. So first of all, the first thing I saw, this is a perfect example of not knowing your audience. When you have a big stage like this, you have to know your audience and the people you are speaking to, because every message that you give, you are accountable for. And then you give these messages and you confuse the buyers. These are the people that made you famous. These are the people that continue to finance your lifestyle. So number one, she doesn't know her audience. That annoyed me. That was the first thing. The second thing is that you can have great advice, great information, but package it wrong, which is what she did. The advice and information, nothing was wrong with that, but it was packaged all wrong. If it was going to be a teachable moment, it should have been packaged differently. And the third thing is that, giving this stage and this platform and this lifestyle that you have, you didn't offer anything to help people. So if you're going to give some form of constructive criticism or talk about what people aren't doing, give them something that they can do. And I feel like she didn't do any of that, and I also think that, she needs to realize that, had it not been for the support of the common woman, not just the common man, but the common woman, because we still loved you even behind your sex tape. We still loved you behind all your marriages. We still loved you behind your entire life being displayed on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. We helped get you there, sis. So now, if you're going to give us some advice, give us something we can use. That's just my 2 cents. I got more if y'all have time. So that's just my 2 cents.
You know what I thought? My personal favorite was when Chris chimes in there in the video clip. Chris was like, yeah, of course we've helped multiple philanthropies, like helping folks, the homeless people in LA.
Yeah, we talk to people. Yeah, she said we talked to people. She didn't say we made an impact. She didn't say there was change. She didn't say any of that. She said we talked to people, and that was probably for a photo op. But Kim, we still love you.
I've got to chime in here because this is so funny. First of all, Bridget, thank you for, when I say you did not ease your way in at all, you're like, first of all, I love this. So let's start there. But I have to agree with you. To me, the first thing that I thought when I heard this was tone deaf. It's tone deaf. Not that anything that you said is necessarily inaccurate, but you have to consider not just your audience, but you also have to consider your privilege. And I think that's the difficulty. And when I'm talking about privilege, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about access, right? I'm talking about your ability to navigate certain spaces. As an entrepreneur, I hear that and I'm like, yeah, like absolutely work. I've been seeing a lot of posts lately, like talking about, I had quit my 9 to 5 and to become an entrepreneur. And then I'm working a day and night, 25, 8, 367, it's one of those things. And for me, it's like, but what hard work is for me and what hard work is for you are 2 different things. So it's like super tone deaf in a sense. And it's like, you can't say also that people are not, because I lived in a house with a mother who worked 2 jobs and we were still having difficulties. And so like, girl, first of all, like, I appreciate you. You're great at what you do and whatever it is that you do, but also chill and be quiet. So that's my thought. I say whatever you do.
And we still go order skims. We still go order skims.
This might be, I don't know what my facial expressions have looked like for the last 3 minutes, but this might be my favorite topic that we have ever covered because I know who me and Stephanie's friends are. Okay. Like Michael and I and Stephanie are real good friends. Bridget and I and Stephanie are real good friends. We know who we love and we know who we hang with, but now y'all see what phone calls are like. So there you go. But it's very true. And I agree with every single one of you. It is the access at the end of the day. And I don't think that what she said was wrong as far as we all should go to the next level, which I think is what she thought she was saying. Be open, be willing to put in that work because the next level of access is ready. But it came off as very like you're condemning people. And you don't always realize what the next man or the next woman is going through behind closed doors and the level of access that person doesn't have. Because to be honest with you, which I applaud her for the work that she's done. I am still a fan myself, but you have to understand that folks are going through some things behind closed doors that even if they worked day and night without some certain introductions and an ability to finance their dream or to, have direct relation to a certain financer or angel investor who just wants to put their money on to say that they're on a project with you, which baby boo, that's what happened for a lot of your stuff. You just happen to be brilliant, and your mama is real brilliant. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, there's that. Whoop, whoop. We're gonna move on.
Liz, let me add one more thing. They don't play by the same rules that we play by.
No.
At all.
Because if they need $2,000 for a lawyer, they got it in the bank right now. Slide the card, we're straight.
Right. Like Michael said, the access, and you said the introductions. And so once you get past access and introductions, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, you don't know what you don't know. And so they have a whole team of people for the things that they don't know. And so even in the midst of all of that, there's still women who were successful in this pandemic. There's still women who have grown. There's still entrepreneurs who have done things they would not have normally done in this pandemic. And it's really added value. So I think before we go generalizing and saying people aren't doing things, let's take a look at what people are doing.
Now, let's get into the Met Gala naming their host. Now, let me look at my notes real quick so I can get these names right? Blake Lively, Ryan Williams, Regina King, okay, Lin-Manuel Miranda. And in addition to In America, a Fashion Lexicon. And I love the idea of the continuation. I have to say, I was there when that exhibit opened to the public the day after the Met ball, and it was breathtaking for me. You walk down the stairs and you see the big basketball thing from the dream team, and it was insane. And you really got to know a lot more about American fashion, because what a lot of you guys don't realize is American fashion is currently being reconstructed and brought back to life. Life is literally being breathed back into American fashion. Now, Michael, you being the president of Indiana Fashion Week, and by the way, I was there with Michael, so I can tell you, homeboy, your team did that, okay? But talk to us a little bit, before we even get into
invite Michael to Indiana Fashion Week. Just thought I put that out there.
Oh, you invited, boo.
Invited.
All the way, front row to the fashion show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Michael, talk to us a little bit about kind of the air being breathed back into American fashion.
Okay. Since you said that, I've got to tell you that what I'm wearing right now is from an Indiana-based designer named Yemi Sani. And she showed Indiana Fashion Week 2 years now.
Didn't Yemi do that suit we did with the zip? Anyways,
Yemi.
Get into the photo. It's on Instagram.
I've got to tell. Okay. But I think, what's happening is one of the things that I say about social media and that I love is that social media has democratized so much. It's democratized celebrity even. Nobody's ever going to be as famous as Michael Jackson, for instance, because we have democratized celebrity in such a way that people are going to be famous, but never that famous because we have access. I think that's the beauty of it. And that's the reason why I love the work that I do with the Indiana Fashion Foundation, because in Indiana Fashion Week, it's because in doing this work, we're able to show not just New York fashion or LA fashion, but we're able to show American fashion. And in that way, the way that life is being breathed back into it is by tapping into these designers and giving access to them that they would have had 10 years ago, and I think that's really the reason why American fashion is able to live, because we have places like St. Louis that are going back into manufacturing, and places like Philadelphia that are going back into manufacturing and present. And I think that's the reason why I think it's these smaller markets, these independent designers that are really breathing life back into it, because these structures have been in place, they serve their purpose, and we appreciate them for what they are. But it is the new talent, it is the independent designer, it's the countrywide, nationwide push in fashion that's breathing life back into it. That's my educated opinion.
I agree with you, Michael. And if I could add something. So, Michael, I'm in Philly. And so I'm on the Philly Fashion Incubator program that's connected to Macy's and a lot of the new and up and coming designers. And we just finished the interviews for the new designers for the program. And everything that you said is in alignment with what is happening here. So you're definitely spot on. And I so appreciate now that these up and coming designers, they have a place to go. So
yes.
It's one thing to have all this talent, but nowhere to go. And now they have a place to go so that we can help them. No, they'll never be as famous as Michael Jackson. They won't. They'll never be as famous, as some of the major celebrities. but they do have a chance, which I love, and they have a place to go. And I also love that they're now at a place now where consumers can afford them. They're giving you luxury, and it's not fast fashion, but it's affordable.
Yes. And the thing is, for me, my dream, and people have asked me this before, my dream closet is all independent designers. That's really what I want. I try as much as possible to wear specifically Indiana-based designers as much as I can, because we've got some amazing talent that are part of like the work that we're doing in Indiana. And because that's my hometown, that's where I'm from, I want to put them on whatever map I have. And so like, it's so cool to see the fashion industry at large just be revitalized in America because of people like Yemi Sani.
Come on, fashion. We're cheering for you. Okay. Yes. All right. And now we have our next episode. We must be going to do 14. Thank you, Jesus. The 51 best Oscar dresses of all time. May I begin by saying it was, for me, Halle Berry in Ellie Saab 2002 for me. Stephanie, who was it for you? And give us a little bit more insight on the subject as a whole.
So the Oscars are coming up on March 27th. So I thought this would be a perfect time to go over the 51 best dressed red carpet Oscar folks. I narrowed it down to a top 3. We have Celine Dion, Christian Dior, 1999. I love that. The reverse blazer. It's the reverse blazer for me. It's the ingenuity for me. I've got Zendaya and Jean-Baptiste Valli Haute Couture in 2018. Okay, I don't even have to tell you which one it was. You can go and look at the article and you'll know exactly which one I'm talking about. It's brown. I'll give you that hint. It's fantastic on her, although she never does any wrong and everything she wears is fantastic. And then last but not least, we have Sharon Bob Mackie, 1974. I mean, it was an itsy bitsy teeny weeny swirly polka dot bikini. It wasn't a bikini, but it was fantastic on her and I loved it. And those were my favorites. And I can't wait to see what is on the red carpet at the Oscars, next weekend. I'm excited about that because I don't feel like, folks are just starting to really do red carpet. So they're going to be out there and I can't wait to see what they put on. Bridget, which one was your fave?
So I have my top 3. I put the
Y'all know Bridget brought out, my girl said, this is my Tonight Show list. Come on, Bridget.
Yeah, I didn't write down the designer's name, but I got my top 3. All right, so my top 3 were Janelle Monáe, and that is she had on the Janelle Monáe killed it for me. Like I would so wear the entire look. Nicole Kidman, the red with the bow, that was like amazing for me. And of course, I had Halle Berry also. Those are like my top 3. But out of those 3, it's Nicole Kidman for me. It was sexy. It was sultry. It was like, listen, I'm the main attraction. I'm here. Oscar, game over. I'm here. That's what I felt when I looked at her dress.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, I have 2 and they're biased. Well, let me say this first of all. Janelle Monáe, that's every single time she hits it. Like
she hits it right all the time.
Like never ever misses. So for me, it's like whatever, because it's like that's unspoken. What they say, what's understood doesn't need to be explained. It's one of those things. I'm going to tell you, I love Tessa Thompson in that Chanel in 2019. I love that. So I think it's biased though, because I had the privilege of meeting her, working with her during the film, and it's the grace that she shows up in. And so anything that she shows up in is just takes on this persona, and the grace that she exudes, like when you see her out in public, is like on a personal note, like like when you meet her, it's like, you know what? And so for me, it's like seeing her in the Chanel. And also, I don't know what it is about black and gold for me. It just does it for me. There's something elegant to it. I used to want a black Cadillac with gold trimmings. I don't know. I'm an old person, I guess, but it's like it was just so good. And then I have to go back to Billy Porter and that Christian Siriano tuxedo dress. I have to go back to that. It was such a moment, not just for like fashion. It was a moment. It was a statement for people who feel marginalized in any sense. And people who feel like, and I think you've heard me talk about this a lot, Liz, that I don't believe you have to be this or that. I think it's yes and. I always say semicolon, yes and. And so I love that. I love the presentation of that. I love the history of that. I love the conversation of that and the moment that it created, not just for Billy, for so many people who are trying to step out into something different, something new. So for me, it was those two, and they're biased.
I think it's okay to be biased. You always have your favorites, and you explained why they were your favorites perfectly. So, and I like that idea of yes and, because I think that so many people, especially now, like we've been stuck in this, a lot of us have been stuck in this box. Like I can only be one thing. Like I know Liz and I have talked about this a handful of times, like, yes, I like fashion, but I can also sing and I can also act and dance. Like, and there's this concept that like I remember my parents saying specifically when I was growing up, do you want to be mediocre at a bunch of things, or do you want to be really great at one thing? And it made me believe this lie that I had to like choose something. I had to choose it. But the older I get and the more immersed in creativity and the more I surround myself with other people who are creatives, I realize that that's not the case, that you can go after multiple avenues and be really successful at all of them. So I love that. Yes. And
Stephanie, thank you for sharing that. Oh, go ahead, Michael. I'll come in after you.
Oh, I was just gonna say, first of all, I'm getting a semicolon tattooed on my wrist because that's like my thing. Anyway, but I was gonna say to that, we've had this idiom, jack of all trades, master of none, that we've talked about for a long time. I always say when I get done doing anything that I'm doing, I say, I'm so good at what I do. And one of my friends says, it's my brother, as a matter of fact, my brother said, you get the prize for the most humble. I said, just because I say I'm good at what I do doesn't mean I'm not humble. I said, I'm saying that because I only do what I know I'm good at. And you don't have to just be good at one thing. If I get in the musical field, I can sing, I can write, I can teach music, but you get me in fashion, I can sit here and commentate with you all. I can look at design and tell you, anything that I do when it comes to identity strategy, I do what I do and I do it well, period. And so like, to that point, like, that's the thing that for me, Billy's look represented. Like, I dare you to try to limit me. I dare you to try to put a boundary on me, because that right there is a visual representation that you can be whatever and do it well.
I love it. I love it. And I want to say, Stephanie, thank you for sharing that. Because one of the things that I've been doing this year, and that is after I finish doing anything, I say, thank you for allowing me to share my brilliance with you. And I have been saying that because when you're good at what you do, nobody has to tell you that you're good at, you know it. And I believe that this year I've shifted from taking up space to occupying space. Because when you take up space, you're only in a certain portion. But this year I'm occupying space. I'm so submerged, I'm immersed in every single thing that I do. And it doesn't have to be one thing. It can be multiple things, and it can be profitable. And your creative forces can align with who you are and the impact that you want to have. So thank you for sharing that, because that's in line with all of us as creatives. We all have a diverse platform. We all have a platform now that we can do and manage multiple things and be successful at it.
Okay, where do I send offering? Do tell.
Pass the plate, okay? Pass the plate. I think we having fashion church tonight, y'all. This episode might go longer, honey. Okay. And we're gonna close out with a similar topic, just because the word emerge, I think it's what all of us are doing after this pandemic. I don't know if it's over or not, but we're gonna say that the panty has pantied, okay? But Emerge Fashion Runway Show 2022, highlighting emerging designers. Today's episode is all about emerging designers. And so, Steph, give us a little bit more background and, tell me who your favorite designer was, Steph, because I want to know if I'm right.
We always try to guess each other's which one we think we're gonna guess. So Emerge Fashion Runway New York Fashion Week. We actually, our industry insider interview this week is none other than the fabulous Dion Williams, who is running Emerge New York Fashion Week. And it is an opportunity that she has been doing live runway shows during New York Fashion Week for the last 10 years. She highlights emerging designers from all over the world. They also give the Fashion Innovator Award. Some of the recipients have been Fern Malice, the creator of New York Fashion Week, and among others, so many others. I think that my favorite, if I had to pick of all of them, and they were all fantastic, but I think my favorite was Edwin D'Angelo. I mean, I love a one shoulder. I love sass, and I'm here for it all. But that was definitely my favorite. Bridget, which one was your favorite?
So I liked all the designers, but I was stuck with Tote and Carrie. And so I was stuck with that because in my mind, like I'm visualizing me planning a trip like real soon. And, I really feel like that now, since we've been in the pandemic for 2 years, like I've ordered so much stuff. Like I've ordered clothes and shoes for days. And so now I want to put it in a nice bag. And I want to be on my merry way and be sitting on, someone's wonderful beach with my sunnies on, a nice hat and an umbrella, and a nice fine gentleman fanning me. So I think I'm stuck at, Tote and Carrie.
It was the fanning for me that took me over. That sent me over. I love it. To your point, Stephanie, too, Edwin D'Angelo, let me just say, Edwin does menswear so well, though. Does menswear, like, it is fantastic. It's like women's wear is great, but the menswear is always next level, and I love that. And I just have to say this: I love Dion. The work that Dion's doing is phenomenal, and I just wanted to take a minute to celebrate her and say, like, job well done. I've been to Emerge. It's a beautifully done show. The venue is gorgeous. The show is professional. And so I just needed to say that as somebody who does fashion shows and things like that, it's beautiful. And I'm so proud of the work that she's doing.
I have to totally agree with you. Matter of fact, I think that after we met, Emerge was the second place that Stephanie and I saw you and reconnected as well. And that was also where I was introduced to David Hand, who, if you guys do not know who David Hand is, honey, when I tell you, Papa came out there with a cream suit, fur over the top. And when I tell you that Naomi Campbell has nothing on Sir David Hand. All right. If you don't know, you better get on Instagram and check our boy out. Okay. Okay.
I love David.
Listen, but the thing that I love is that Emerge makes space for that. Emerge makes space for, that vibe and that feeling. And the only other show that I really could compare it to is Sergio Hudson 3 seasons ago, when I bothered Hinton Group so much from 3 different emails that they finally were like, yes, you can have 2 tickets for you and your little friend, Stephanie. Leave us alone. And we got there. And I mean, people were crying in the aisles. And I decided at that moment, like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life in some way, in some form. I don't care if I zip people up for free, if they pay me 20 cents, like whatever it is. And I think that fashion is so great because it transports people. And so I'm so about emerging designers, emerging fashion, and the art of fashion coming back to life. And honestly, I hope that you guys have loved this conversation, because that's really what it turned into. We had fashion church, fashion school, honey, and all the things. Now, Michael Andrew Weston, tell the people where they can find you on IG, darling.
You can find me on Instagram at Michael_Andrew_Weston, WESTON.
And Bridget, let the folks know where they can gather your information too.
First of all, I want to say thank you to you and Stephanie. Like, this has been amazing. Like, I love coming to the Fab Lab, and I hope I'll get invited back again. I hope I didn't act out too much. Hope I'll get invited. But for anybody that wants to find me, you can look me up under Bridget, last name Battles, Battles. I don't start fights and I don't lose them either.
Period, honey. I love it. And yes, you guys are both green on the rebook list, which means they were great. We'll bring them back. And they have helped you guys and us really go to the next level. So we're all about making life your runway here on the Fab Lab. And we hope that you have loved getting the inside scoop and being front row at the fashion show, guys. All right. We love you so much. See you in a minute. Welcome back, Fab Lab Fashionistas. I'm Liz Everett, and I am so incredibly excited about our industry insider interview with none other than, okay, I'm talking about celebrity PR queen, okay, event manager, talent management. I mean, like, she's the one, okay? She's the one. Dion Williams, welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I am so incredibly honored that you are on with us because you do so many incredible things. You generate good ink and good PR strategy and great fashion with the Emerge NYFW show.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I do have a public relations and events company, D. Williams PR, and then, yeah, I'm the founder of Emerge Fashion Show.
That's incredible. So where did the initial love of fashion come from for you?
Well, I have a friend, her name is Terry Stevens. She is a designer. We grew up together. So in the 90s, we grew up in the 90s, in our college age. We were always into fashion, you know, the supermodel era. And so we always kept up with designers with her because she's, you know, a very talented fashion designer. She was on Project Runway season 6 years ago. And so when she came off of Project Runway, I was her guest to the finale show, which was during New York Fashion Week in the tents. At that time, it was at Bryant Park. So I went with her to the finale show. And I was bit by the bug. Well, first, because I do events, I love the whole production. The whole production thing was just amazing. So, and then just the whole fashion industry and just seeing talent, you know, I think it's like their collection is art on the runway. So from then on, she started doing shows. Like after that show, you know, there are, as you know, independent shows that are not official shows all throughout the city of New York during Fashion Week. And when I went to some of the shows, I just felt that, I could do something like this for Terry, who, you know, put on a fabulous show, used my PR and event skills to showcase her designs. And that was February 2011. And then at the time, I decided to just add a few more emerging designers to make it a collective. So that's how we started about 11 years ago.
That's incredible. And you have built, honestly, Dion, an iconic platform for yourself. Like, I mean,
I don't know. I know.
Let me get my notes, girl. We gonna read some of these Fashion Innovator Awards, okay? Andre Leon Talley, Constance C.R. White, Beverly Johnson, Fern Malice,
I know. When we started in 2011, I wanted to, I needed to add some credibility to the show. And also I thought it was very important for us, these young creatives that were coming up to know what the past was. So fashion history is very important. I study fashion history all the time. So I added the Fashion Innovator Award, and my first honoree was Audrey Smalls. owner of the Ground Crew, who is a legendary Black woman who her company does all back of house production for all the major shows back in the 60s and the 70s. She's iconic. And Harriet Cole presented her the award. And from that time, every season, people were like, who are you honoring this? So I'm like, oh, I got to really keep going with this. I didn't know. I was like, okay, I guess we'll go. So, we've honored Andre Leon Talley, and Diane von Furstenberg gave him the award. We honored Pat Cleveland, the legendary model, and Stephen Burrows, the designer, gave her the award. Beverly Johnson, Mickey Taylor, Laura Roach. We just honored Carl Kanai.
Like I said, iconic. Okay. I mean, it's not even just who's receiving it, but for me, when Stephanie and I attended, I think year before last, it was such a great experience for us because we had started doing our blog. We really wanted to cover something bigger. And our friend Elliot Carlisle was there, and you honored Fern Malice that year.
Fern, yeah.
And we were just so excited to be in the building because it's shows like yours that get people to that next space and bring them in. And that night we also met David Hand, who, when I tell you he showed out on that runway, yeah.
Yes, he was a model. He really showed out. Yeah.
Honey, but you make space for that show out. You create such a beautiful environment for what happens. Where do you get the idea for how to curate the environment to bring it to the forefront?
Yeah, because I'm not a fashion insider. I'm an outsider. I'm from Chicago. And so I just wanted to put together this great show. So, New York and fashion that industry is very cliquey. And because I'm in PR and events, I own a business. I have tough skin. So, no's and rejection is part of the everyday life. So I don't take it personally. I just take it sometimes that those insiders, everybody is coming after them. So, you can't be hurt because somebody may not open the door for you or just be open. So I'm like Claire Sumner's once said, I heard her say one day, like, if she didn't have a seat at the table, then she could create one. So I wanted to create this space for people who may not be invited to the big official shows. We work with Bennett Career Institute out of Washington, D.C., where they give us our 40 to 50 plus glam team, which is hair and makeup. And those are emerging stylists and master stylists from Washington, D.C. Our models are all fresh faced, new. This may be their first time on the runway or just a few shows during New York Fashion Week. So we do give, the designers, it's their first time to see a big production and how it works. So, I love to give everybody that platform. Bang and Aaron from Washington, D.C., who handle our backstage. I make sure they get the spotlight during the event, or they get to speak, or anybody my team that's working with me, we definitely. So it just gives people it's a great feel of the event. I love the experience. It's not about me, it's about the designer. So I think you feel that at the show.
You definitely do. It really is such an entryway event, but it has such credibility and such a good smell to it and such vibrance in the room. And you can tell that people are hungry for fashion. And that is such an outstanding thing to experience when people are around. Now, let's talk a little bit more about how Emerge is growing, because I am excited about the summit. I'm super excited about Road to Emerge, and I'm obsessed with Emerge's design talk. So wherever you want to start in there with all that goodness that is coming from Emerge, I am into it.
So I decided, Emerge shouldn't be just the show. So these Emerge brands that will come out of Emerge, it's the fashion show, New York, doing New York Fashion Week in February and September. And then we have a TV show called A Road to Emerge, which will air on GFN TV, where we show what happens to build this, back of house leading to the runway shows. This is going to air in April 2022. That's going to be amazing. And then we have the Emerge Digital Summit, because we need education. These designers and creatives need to know they're creatives. I'm a business person. I love the business of fashion. I'm not really a fashionista. I don't, wear all the top clothes, but about the business side. So business designers need to know how to scale their business, how to order. They need to know all the things about business. So we'll start this year our Emerge Design Summits. And then what else we have? We have possibly Emerge London coming up in February 2023. So this is the first time I've done it during London Fashion Week, and with featuring Black designers, Black and African. So we're looking, those are all our Emerge brands that we're working on.
Girl, I take my hat off to you.
And Emerge Design Talk, I'm sorry.
Wow.
This is my interview series, just like you. I love your platform and what you do. This is just my little thing where I interview icons and legends, because people need to know the story. People who may not be in fashion, but I make it relatable. Somebody like TJ Walker, who was the creator of Cross Colors, the brand. I've interviewed Carl Kanai. What about Oswald Boating, who used to be the lead designer for Givenchy several years ago, who's Black and lives in London. All kind of people. Fern Malice, the creators of FUBU, all these stories that you didn't know about. Like, oh, okay, I didn't know Misa Hilton. I interviewed her. All kind of people. Andre Leon Talley, he was a supporter of ours. So just to let people know, like, our history, Black history, or just history of fashion in general. So that's Emerge Design Talk.
Well, and I do think that one of the things that would shock people, especially when they start roaming around those New York City fashion streets, is how intelligent you need to be, even to hold a conversation with folks on the history of fashion, on the relevance of historical eras and things like that when it comes to fashion. And so I love your approach, because it continues to educate people about fashion, about the industry, and about how they can navigate, moving around the fashion space. So I love that. And I love that you're doing it in such a virtual way, but also really expanding the brand as well. Where did you get the idea to do the television show? Because I am incredibly excited about that.
Oh, yeah. So just so people could see, when the pandemic happened, I was working with my PR clients and just doing content. Like, we need content because we can't go out. So I'm like, well, let me create some content for the Emerge show. We were celebrating our 10th anniversary right at the pandemic. I was just super upset. So we had to come to think about, like, where can we, so we did this virtual 10th anniversary show where Claire Summers was the host. And then we did this creative way where we did runway with like little movie excerpts of their runway collection. And that's the season we honored Law Roach. And so we had to just keep developing content. And so I think showing how crazy it gets during, preparing for a show during New York Fashion Week. If people know me in events, I'm tough. So I was talking to the editor, Mark Tutson, the other day. He's like, how important is your reputation? Because he's looking at all the clips. I'm like, I know I'm not yelling. He's like, I don't know. So yeah, just the craziness that happens behind the scenes. So it'll be, and then this beautiful runway that happens at the end. So it's going to be nice.
That's so great. Well, I am just incredibly honored that we were able to have you on, Dion, and we here at the Fab Lab are sending you and everything that Emerge does and everything that Dion Williams PR does. We are just sending you the greatest blessings, because it is just awesome to watch you continue to evolve and to emerge yourself with this incredible brand that really is a blessing to people who are coming up in the fashion world and want to stay connected to the story and how they can improve themselves in the world of fashion.
Thank you so much. And I want people should know how sweet you are, because I remember seeing you at an event during New York Fashion Week, September, and you just nicely came up and said hello.
Yeah.
Introduced yourself. I'm like, okay, nice. And then following up, just super nice, super sweet, the most supportive. So I'm very excited about all the things that are happening for you now and in the future, your content. You have a lot going on. I love creatives. I don't consider myself creative, even though I have to do creative things. I love to see when people are creative and come up with things like you do. Beautiful content, beautiful curated experience. So congratulations on everything.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. And honestly, it was funny because I think it was Chooks Collins Tasso show that I had seen you at, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember you passed me and I was like, that's Dion. She does Emerge. I love Emerge. And I just love, and this is one of the reasons why we did the Fab Lab. Stephanie and I both are such huge fans of the folks that make it happen, because you really have to step out on a level of unheard of faith. And so we realized, that what you're doing and the excellence that with which you do it is just such a great calling card. And it's such a beautiful thing, us being stylists who are working to make it and to be, in and around fashion as well. It's a really tough industry. And so for us, it's just so exciting to celebrate those who are stepping out on faith and creating. So thank you for everything you're doing. And it is so appreciated, the love that you give us back.
Thank you so much. And keep creating. Don't try to fit in. That's why I tell people, like for me as well, I'm not trying to, when I get there, I'm not offended. When they notice, they'll notice. And when they start to see like, oh, this has been going on. So create your whole path and not trying to, fit into whatever you think this industry is so they can see you, but keep going and, do your own thing and they'll come to you.
They really will. All right, guys. Well, we have had such an awesome time with Dion. Oh, before we go, Dion, let them know where to follow you and where they can connect with Emerge.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Follow us on IG for all updates of what's happening at Emerge NYFW or our website at emergerunwaynyc.com. You can find us all there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dion. And thank you to each and every one of you. Make sure you follow Emerge NYFW, and we'll see you in just a little bit. We'll be right back after these messages. All right, guys. Well, that does it for our final episode this season. Oh my gosh, we're gonna miss you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining us every single week. You can always go back and watch old episodes, and make sure you're following us on the THEE Fab Lab on all platforms. Stephanie, give the people a word before we go.
We love you all. We appreciate your support so much. And like we said, the sky is the limit. Limitless. We are limitless, and we cannot wait to see you back for season 2.
Absolutely. Well, we love you guys. We are so grateful for you, and we hope that you make life your runway, not just today, but every single day. We've got some exciting things coming up in the next couple of months, and we can't wait to see you next season. All right, guys, bye from us here at the Fab Lab.